I'm here to answer questions all about prednisone. I personally took prednisone for a long time, and I wanted to share some tips about how to cope with prednisone side effects because I know that this is the number one drug that causes side effects, and we all need help with that. So, once upon a time, I was just a normal young mom, and I was miserable because I had to take, I had, how does this end? Hello. Okay, so I had been a normally healthy person, and then suddenly one day my life changed. Before that, I had never really cared about my health much because I had been healthy. And then one day a rash appeared on my arms, on my chest, these little red dots. And I was like, what are these? Where did they come from? Why are they here? And it started spreading from my chest all the way down. In the early evening, it was just here. And then by the next morning, it was all the way down to my ankles, or these little red dots. They were painless. And so it was just really bizarre why they were there. And so I called my doctor and I said, hey, what is this? What is happening? And they said, I don't know, but let's test your blood. And so they tested my blood and discovered that I had something really wrong. They couldn't get a hold of me on the phone, so they had to call my husband and say, hey, she needs to be seen immediately. So I called my doctor's office and I said, hey, they said I need to come in. And they're like, no, actually, you need to go straight to the emergency room. If you don't get help immediately, you could bleed to death and die. I was like, no, I do not want that. That would be horrible. So I went to the emergency room and they tested my blood for this thing called platelets. And platelets are really important for preventing bleeding. And normal platelets are between 150 and 400. And that first test came in at super duper low. An hour later, when they tested again, it was only at 3, when normal is 150 to 400. I was this close to bleeding to death. It was terrible. So the treatment for that was our beloved yet hated drug, prednisone. So I was hospitalized and given the opportunity to take prednisone to save my life. And it did. It was a miracle. I was able to take it and then immediately start suffering side effects. I was normally able to stay up late working on the computer, and then suddenly, if I worked late on the computer, the prednisone would do the weirdest things to my brain while I was sleeping. Anyone else feel that? What prednisone does to you when you're sleeping? Yeah, totally happened to me. And so I'd get these strange, like way more vivid dreams while I was on prednisone than before. And then I would have a hard time falling back asleep because I felt this wired, like jittery feeling, just that the prednisone made me feel so pressured, so excited, so just not able to calm down, not able to feel rested. Anybody else? Comment below if you struggle with sleep issues while on prednisone. Yeah, like sleeping restfully is not a thing while on prednisone, right? It's actually the number one tweeted side effect to prednisone is insomnia. Isn't that amazing that they even did a research project to find out what the number one tweeted side effect is? And it's insomnia. And so I struggle with insomnia. What side effects did you experience to prednisone? Just comment below what those are. I had insomnia. I also had hunger cravings. Before that, I could pretty much eat whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted. My metabolism was great, and it didn't really matter what I ate. And I would feel full and I'd be fine. But when I was in prednisone, anybody else? I never felt full. I would eat and it was like I could just keep eating the whole cake. If I didn't like decide in advance what I was going to eat in a meal, I would just keep eating because for me, the hunger signals never turned off. I was just hungry all the time. And I wanted the things that we know we shouldn't eat. That's what prednisone makes us do. It preferentially makes us want basically Oreos, sweet things, sugary sweet things, salty things, high fat things, ultra processed, right? Like the easiest way to ingest calories. That is what prednisone makes us do. So I was eating all of this stuff, but I was still taking my prednisone and it was still saving my life. And I thought, well, it's not going to be that bad because I'm only going to be on it for a few days. As a pharmacist, I'd dispensed a lot of prednisone in my day, and I'd never had to deal with very much long-term prednisone users. For the most part, when I dispensed prednisone, it was, okay, here's a 5-day supply, or here's a 7-day supply, or maybe a 10-day supply. I had no idea that I might be on prednisone for like months. That was just outside the realm of my possibility. I didn't think I would need to have to deal with long-term prednisone. So at first I didn't really take precautions. I wasn't really caring about my food. I wasn't really caring about my sleep because it's like, I'm gonna be off it soon, I'll be fine. I wasn't really worrying, certainly not, about my bones. I knew in pharmacy school, you can see my textbook right up there, that if I wanted to pass the licensure exam to become a pharmacist, there's certain things you have to know about each drug. And one of the things that all pharmacists know about prednisone is that you've got to give people calcium and vitamin D to prevent osteoporosis. Like every pharmacist knows that. It's on the test. Like that's the test prep book, right? Like you have to know that. And so I knew that, but I thought, well, I'm young, I'm otherwise healthy. I don't need to worry about osteoporosis. That's an old person thing, right? That's for like my grandma to deal with, not for me. And I also thought, well, I'm only going to be on it for a short amount of time. I won't need to worry about it yet. There's no problem today. There's no concern at this moment, right? I'm just fine. But I was wrong. I was wrong to ignore all of those potential side effect issues that I was already dealing with. I had no idea at the time that osteoporosis from prednisone does not wait. I don't know where I got that idea. I guess I probably got it. I know where I got it. I got the idea because the guideline for osteoporosis, they actually have a guideline called Guideline for Osteoporosis, Corticosteroid-Induced Osteoporosis. And it's written by the doctors who prescribe prednisone the most, rheumatologists. And they say if you're on 3 months or more. I think that's where I got the idea. It's like, oh, I don't need to worry about it because I'm not going to be on 3 months or more of prednisone. Except I was. And by then, what I didn't know is that it might actually be too late. If you're on prednisone, give me a thumbs up or, hey, I'm on prednisone, because you need to know this. Prednisone doesn't wait to cause bone loss. The osteoporosis happens the most, like the bone loss, the withdrawal of calcium, collagen, magnesium, those things happen the most in the first 3 months. I know, it's wild. Hi, Erica. Thank you for commenting. Yes. So the osteoporosis is not something that you want to wait 3 months to deal with. It's actually happening with the first dose. There's studies showing that just one dose of prednisone can induce bone loss. It can start killing off the bone building cells and start increasing the number of bone breaking cells. Those are called osteoblasts. No, osteoblasts are the builders, and osteoclasts are the breaker downers. And prednisone starts doing that even after the first dose. There's other hormones that are sent to tell your body time to start breaking down calcium and vitamin D and magnesium from your bones, because we need those nutrients immediately. It's as if your bones and your muscles are like your rainy day fund, that when you are on prednisone, it's like you went to Las Vegas and you're like, hey, it's time to spend all of my rainy day fund now. I'm gonna just go blow the whole wad, right? Like, I don't care what happens, consequences don't matter. I'm just gonna spend my life savings of bone mass and muscle mass. And prednisone starts making your body break them down because it's mimicking our body's naturally occurring hormone called cortisol. And cortisol is amazing in saving us from disastrous situations, but it's not good at keeping us a long-term health. It's only good for short-term. It's prioritizing getting you through surviving this disaster, and doesn't really care whether you're able to reproduce, doesn't really care if you're able to walk, have a back, have a spine, have bones with mass in them, doesn't care. It just wants you to survive the war, the famine, the disaster. So prednisone is mimicking cortisol, and it's withdrawing from your savings account and spending it now. So we're having all of this bone loss, this osteoporosis, osteonecrosis, even bone death, and so many other issues. And so we've got to be taking precautions immediately upon your first dose. And if you haven't, do it now. Okay, we've got some comments. Let's talk about them. Sharon says, I've been on prednisone for 13 months for PMR. Also got diagnosed with fibromyalgia 2 weeks ago. George says, hi. Sharon continues, I'm reducing for the second time, currently on 8 milligrams. Oh, Sharon, you are right at that. 8 milligrams is kind of where lots of people with PMR get stuck. Somewhere above that, most people are okay, and below that, it's where it's like, ooh, am I going to be able to get off or not? That is a tricky spot, so good luck tapering off. Simply More Amazing says, my body cannot function properly without 5 milligrams of prednisone daily. I've been on it for 20 years for rheumatoid arthritis in every joint. Wow, you win. Every single joint. If I had rheumatoid arthritis in every single joint, I would for sure be on prednisone 5 milligrams as well. I mean, there's studies showing that 5 milligrams of prednisone is kind of like this place for rheumatoid arthritis, where above that, and it's like clearly it's harmful, and below that, it's not necessarily that helpful. And so I get it. Like, your body starts shutting down without it, unfortunately. I bet. I bet it does. Hi, Rosaline. Yeah, so it's all, my most important message I want everyone to get across is that taking prednisone is always a question of benefits and risks. And you even have iritis and arthritis in your eyes. Okay, you even have that inflammation in your eyes. And if you've got that, that's like vision threatening. So your benefit risk calculation about prednisone is different than other people. So for some people who don't have life-threatening things, or like you literally cannot move, your body's shutting down without it, your benefits are truly, like, they're tilting the scale completely. The benefits for you are literally life-saving, vision-saving. You can't function without it. And there are probably side effect consequences, but living is better than going blind, right? So I totally agree that makes sense for you. Petra says, special thanks to Dr. Megan. I'm a user. You are a blessing. And my little kid is in the background. So Simply More Amazing says, I've done an anti-inflammatory diet for years, which has helped. No gluten, no dairy, and no nightshades. That helped you get you down to only 5 milligrams. That is fantastic. Being at only 5 milligrams is really, if anybody can get to only 5 milligrams, awesome. But you know, the lowest effective dose is what the doctors recommend. For you, your condition, and for rheumatoid arthritis, 5, it might be your thing. For polymyalgia rheumatica, you might be stuck at 8 milligrams. For giant cell arteritis, it might be closer to 20 to 25 milligrams. For multiple sclerosis, it's closer to 1,000 milligrams when the eyes go bad. So it's for you, you need to find tapering down to the lowest effective dose that's keeping you in control. Does tapering off prednisone mean accepting pain? I don't think so. I don't think anybody should have to accept pain. There are just so many alternatives to prednisone that you should not have to accept pain. That's my personal opinion. Because if you're having pain, like arthritis pain, there's just so many injectable, biological medications you could try, or the old-fashioned DMARDs. I'm not sure what you're taking it for, George. Did you mention it already? I don't think you did. You didn't. But so I don't think it means accepting pain. And if you are tapering prednisone and experiencing pain, then you're tapering too fast. Because pain while tapering is a symptom of prednisone withdrawal. Prednisone withdrawal meaning you're tapering too fast. So I definitely do not want you to have to accept pain, because it's not like there's not like you're not like manning through it. Like that's actually a symptom that your body is saying, I don't have enough cortisol, help me now. And it could be a symptom of like a severe cortisol deficiency, could lead to adrenal crisis. You do not want to have to deal with that. Let's see. Frederica said, I had been on 4 milligrams of methylprednisolone for 4 years. I went off it about 5 months ago. When will my body go back to normal? So there's no like perfect way to predict when you're going to go back to normal, but 4 years of treatment is a very long time. There's like one doctor who's like, however long you're on it is how long it's going to take to recover. And that seems excessive. 4 years of recovery time, like, holy cow. I don't necessarily agree with that, but the normal recovery for most people is somewhere between 6 months and a year. And you've been off 5 months, but if you're still feeling awful after 5 months, definitely let your doctor know, because there might be other things going on. Like prednisone might have been a Band-Aid, like a finger in the dike blocking another symptom or signal from coming. And so definitely be in touch with your doctor. Simply More Amazing said, is there anything better than prednisone that works similar? So you said you have rheumatoid arthritis and iritis, and there are so many awesome medications right now. I'm not sure what you've tried. If you've been on prednisone this long, you've probably tried a bunch of them, but like Humira, and I can't even think of all of them, like Enbrel and Rinvoq and Kevzara, and like there are so many good drugs, and they used to only be injectable, but now they even have oral pills. So if you haven't tried like all the things, then I would definitely try all the things to get it on the lowest effective dose you can get on for prednisone. Okay, let's see. Sue says, can high doses affect a hip replacement joint? I'm on 85 milligrams from 65 milligrams for a skin complaint, pemphigus foliaceus, and had a hip replacement 8 months ago, and it started stiffening up. So yes, prednisone can do awful things to hips, especially if you're on that incredibly high of a dose. Like that is such a high dose. So I've mentioned at the beginning of this video that prednisone can cause bone loss, like withdrawal of the bone density with the minerals like calcium and magnesium, the proteins like collagen, just the whole structure of the bone just kind of thins and weakens. That's typical, but also on the hip itself, prednisone can cause osteonecrosis of the hip joint. So like the top of your femur bone inserts into your hip here, and the very tip of it this is probably what you got replaced, but it can cause bone death anywhere along this area. It's typically on that head, but it can do all sorts of things, killing the bone itself. Okay. Simply More Amazing, you said you've tried herein, Enbrel, a few others, but when you're on them, you get sick. Oh, you tried methotrexate and you lost hair. Darn it. Yeah. Oh, that is really tough because they do cause side effects too. And so if you're on 5 milligrams of prednisone, you're like, I haven't had side effects, then I get it. Like, I get that might be the lesser of those evils for you. But definitely they keep coming out with new ones, you know. Whoa, my phone's falling off. Okay, so it's tricky. All right, Alexander said, my doctor started me on methotrexate 10 milligrams weekly. Now let's do 5 milligrams of prednisone daily for reactive arthritis. Is this even necessary? I'm worried about side effects. I'm 28 and otherwise healthy. Okay, so that's for sure a question for your doctor. And before I continue talking, your doctor's the best to help with your health. If you're ever second guessing your doctor, you should get a second opinion from another doctor in the same category. Like if it sounds like you probably have a rheumatologist, then I'd ask, if I were you, I'd ask another rheumatologist for a second opinion, but I have no idea if it's necessary for you. Methotrexate is a great way to start. I think that's fantastic. If you're in incredible pain and you're not functioning, then it makes sense to add the prednisone, at least temporarily, while the methotrexate is kicking in, because the methotrexate can take like around 3 months to like fully have benefit. And so sometimes they call it a bridge where you take methotrexate and prednisone and then wait for the methotrexate to kick in. And then by then you kind of taper off the prednisone, waiting for that methotrexate to kick in. And so eventually, I hope the goal is to get you off of prednisone. Methotrexate's the best option. And then, like I mentioned, there's so many other options of arthritis medications you could possibly try as well. Okay. Simply More Amazing says, I take magnesium and D3K2 daily with my prednisone, which is helping, along with collagen and fish oils. Those supplements help my bones and lifting weights. Such important tips you're sharing. Yes, magnesium, D3, and K2 are fantastic for supporting your bones. And the collagen, yeah, and fish oil. All of those are super important while in prednisone. Also, calcium is good too. I know some people have issues with calcium if you have like serious heart disease or things like that. But in general, the doctors who prescribe prednisone the most recommend calcium and D3 and K2. Well, they don't actually recommend K2. I recommend K2 because it helps the D3 and calcium work better. So those are great. And I endorse their message so much that I created a supplement that includes everything you need. Let me show you. It's called Nutranize Zone. It's got calcium, vitamin D3, K2, magnesium, glycinate, and a whole bunch of other ingredients that help to counteract side effects. So it's got the morning bottle, the bedtime bottle, and the combination, man, it's just not staying. The combination helps you feel like yourself again while on prednisone. You can get it on Amazon or at Nutranize.com. But those are great tips of what to do. In addition to weightlifting is so important for your bones too, to giving your body the strength around the bones to keep yourself from falling and breaking bones. Okay, Simply More Amazing says, yes, true about taking methotrexate and prednisone. As long as you are not on prednisone too long, like I was, then your body may not function without it. Yes, as well. K2 with those. Where can we get these? You can get this on Amazon or Nutranize.com, Nutranize. And I designed it to be like the one and only supplement you need while on prednisone, because it's a twin pack. It's got the morning and the bedtime bottles, and it's everything you need. Aside from fish oil, it does not include fish oil. So continue taking your fish oil. Take a picture, yes. Here. Cheese. There you go, take a picture. Awesome. This is life-changing. I've been selling it for 7 years. People absolutely love it. It makes them feel so much better while on prednisone. And you've got to have that K2 and D3. So I've got the highest quality ingredients in here. In addition, I also have stuff to help out with the blood sugar issues that happen. So prednisone's causing high blood sugar. And so I have chromium. And chromium is super important because your body's making you pee out chromium. You are losing chromium. And why do you care about chromium? It's a metal mineral that you need to use your glucose properly. So glucose has to be, it's floating around and you need insulin to allow it into your cells. And without chromium, that whole complex doesn't work. And so you have really high blood sugars while on prednisone. And so the chromium really helps so that it brings down your blood sugars. They did a study in Israel in 1999, and they gave people on prednisone chromium. And the exact form that I have in here, the chromium picolinate.
That's just not real.
And yes, and it helps you to not gain weight. It helps.
It's actually not real.
My little kid's in the background. Silly thing. But the chromium picolinate helps with supporting your blood sugars. It helps to support muscle mass, keeps the blood sugar stable, and helps you to lose the weight that is... Okay, I guess I have to leave because my kid's being silly. But you should go get some at Nutranize.com. Chromium's in there. Berberine's in there, all of these things to help your blood sugars. Signing off is Dr. Megan, your Prednisone Pharmacist.